Hey everybody, welcome back to Threat X3 Productions. I'm Nick, here with me today is...
Hola, Senor Nate.
Senor Nate. And today, we just thought we would talk, it's about halfway through... Hold on. Yeah, it's about halfway through the year, and so we thought we'd talk about what are we excited for, what are we hyped for. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be this year, but what are we excited for now that the year is, almost over? So why don't you take the first one?
Well, so what's funny about this list and what I think is going to make for a great conversation is I feel like you have good kind of like picks that most people aren't, like I haven't come across some of them. And mine to most would be generic, which, you don't really care for. So for me, of course, it is absolutely Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. That's got to be probably my biggest game, and it's. I say that because it is having me go to get a new console.
Right.
It is exciting.
Is it going to be for the PC as well, like day and date?
So,
okay,
yes,
so I might play it because I have Game Pass. So
yeah,
that'll be like literally the one reason I actually play it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's one of those, it's free, especially the multiplayer. So I would definitely play the multiplayer, especially if it's something you enjoyed. But Halo Infinite, just all around, I am hoping that they don't let us down. They really have a lot riding on this, and I think that they didn't know that. And I think that's why this is probably going to be one of the better Halo games that we've had in a while. And it's really given me like hints of reach. So that's why I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit that I am intrigued. It's just that to me, every Halo looks so similar. So it's like this one, the main reason I'm even intrigued is like the open world aspect to it. Mm-hmm. But I feel like especially Halo 1, 2, and 3, because those are the only ones I've actually played, those always kind of had maybe not open worlds, but big biomes. So each level was really huge because most of the time vehicles were in play. So, I mean, the fact that they're changing it to a more open world doesn't really make it change that much other than, okay, yeah, maybe there's going to be like a central hub and I get to drive around like in GTA. That's literally the only reason I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll give it a try.
I'll give it a try.
I'll give it a try.
I mean, it's definitely one of those to each their own, but like I'm really getting the nostalgia Halo vibes that type of Halo energy that Xbox wants to send out.
Right. They're sending it out, and you're just.
I'm just sucking that in my
just double digits, double fists, and so one I'm actually super excited for. I'm like ridiculously excited. I should not be excited for it because like no one seems to give a rat's ass. But Pokemon Unite. Pokemon Unite is basically a MOBA, but in the Pokemon universe or whatever. But I guess it just looks really cool. It's like, hey, do you want to play as Pikachu? And then you run around catching other Pokemon. And then every time you catch that Pokemon, you get, like, let's call it essence. I don't know what else. They're like essence points or something. And so then you turn those essence points into the enemy's capture zone or whatever. And so that's basically like taking down turrets in a MOBA or whatever. And so I don't know, like I just think like a multiplayer where it's more like real-time combat rather than turn-based combat, and it's in such a unique like team perspective or whatever, I'm super excited for it. It's definitely something that looks just really intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like an interesting idea that I'm excited to see what comes of it, because I'm watching some footage of it right now, at least a cinematic trailer, and it's really unique. I like it because I really kind of getting tired of Nintendo's whole, let's do the same thing for 20 to 30 years.
Absolutely.
So it's like when we've had game after game after game after game after game after game after game of the same thing with some slight variations here and there.
Yeah,
This
Sword and
seems like a
Shield
really
being
good
like
idea.
the most quote unquote departure, but like literally the only departure is like, hey, let's have a big open world section of it rather than just these sectioned offs. But even the open world is sectioned off, so it's like I haven't personally played it, but I have no desire to. So yeah, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit, maybe. What's another one for you?
Well,
you might want to save your biggest one for the last. That's what I'm trying to do, just so you know.
So for me, I would have to say Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Another one that I could give two shits about.
Yeah, kind of one of those I wasn't expecting either, but very similar to how Guardians of the Galaxy, the film, captured a lot of people, I think, to them for the first time, at least with that first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I felt whenever I watched the footage from E3, because it just looks very unique. And that's what you want to see out of a successful Guardians project, is capturing its own spirit and being able to bring that. So a good comparison too, and it's funny because it's from Square Enix.
Right.
They're both from Square Enix. The fact that when we saw Avengers for the first time, immediately everyone was, Uncanny Valley.
Right.
I didn't feel that way with this footage. Like, it felt uniquely to the story that they're telling, and it looks like it has really cool ideas. I have more questions than anything, especially with gameplay and the multi-character aspect of it, how that's going to function.
Right.
But I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. I mean, not to tread on you too much, it's just like, if anything, the fact that you only play as Star-Lord, why? Like,
they confirm that you only play as Star-Lord?
Yes. I mean, who knows? There might be segments where you play as other ones, but as far as I've seen, yes, you're only playing as Star-Lord. And so it's kind of like, why? There's a team. It'd be like playing an X-Men game and only playing as like Cyclops or something like that. You're not even playing like the crowd favorite or whatever, which I don't know, maybe Star-Lord is the crowd favorite. But it'd be like all the other X-Men being there with you, but you're just not playing as them. That, you know what I mean? It'd be like playing an Uncharted, but you play as like Sully instead, but Nathan Drake's literally right next to you and you play the entire game with him, but you don't get to play as him. Right. Or you don't have the option to play. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just such a weird... Like, I do like how we're getting these games that are kind of like, Gotham or Arkham... What's the... Asylum. That's the first one. But the Arkham trilogy. Where basically out of nowhere... It's like, hey, here's a Batman game. It's not tied to a movie. It's not tied to a specific something that's coming out, so it's licensed or whatever. And it ended up being awesome. All these Spider-Man all these Spider-Man games, they were all okay. But like, then when we got a really good one, it was when they just decided to do their own thing. So Guardians of the Galaxy deciding to do their own things, kind of like Spider-Man decided to do his own thing. It's like, okay, that's really cool. But the fact that you don't get to play as anybody else but Star-Lord, like, it immediately deflates me so much. So, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think also for me, it's what I wanted out of Avengers, because I really wanted Avengers to be a different experience than what they marketed it as. So the fact that they're like, hey, this is a single player experience, it's like, okay, let's see how they do this.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
It's an interesting perspective.
So then my other one that I'm maybe not hyped for, but I'm definitely intrigued, is actually Pokemon Arceus or Arius. I don't know how to say it. But the new Pokemon that, for the most part, looks like an open world Pokemon. Because, once again, like you were kind of saying, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, it's just like, okay, why? So having it where it's like, okay, now it's Pokemon, but it is open world, and you're actually like being stealthy and throwing a Pokeball. It's like, okay, that seems dope as fuck. Like, that's a Pokemon game I can get into. Even though it still might be like turn-based or whatever, I'm okay with that. But yeah. So I'm cool with that. Let's do that. Yeah. It honestly might be one that I actually try out. And the first time I tried out Pokemon was also the last one, and that was like red, blue, and yellow or whatever. That was literally the first and only time I've ever tried Pokemon.
Now, are either one of those Pokemon games going to make you want to get an OLED Switch?
Not even a little bit.
So
talk about the most disappointing announcement this year.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Go
because
for it.
I watched the trailer for it probably 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen it posted and I just hadn't had a chance. So I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, okay, cool.
Right?
And that was in the first 10 seconds. And then I was like, oh, God, there's 2.5 minutes of this. Like, what? Like,
right. I mean, at least when they first revealed the Switch, they're like, hey, here's how you can play it this way. And then you can play it this way. And it's like those little moments where it's like, hey, play it like this, play it like this. We're way too far away from each other. Because it was really just people playing. And, like, without a frame of reference, without actually showing us the screen, it's just like, okay, people are playing. And then they got to the point where they're like, here's the base, you get wired Ethernet. And like, I was legitimately waiting the entire trailer, and 4K and 4K, and nope, the commercial's over.
Yeah, so it gets worse because I went
gosh.
to IGN's Daily Fix video that says everything not in the new OLED Switch.
Oh, God.
And literally, the way it sounds is that it is just a bigger screen and an adjustable stand on the back with better speakers.
Dumb. Yeah, so dumb. So
like
dumb.
it's and everyone's saying it could be because basically they're not wanting to put all their eggs in the basket. Basically, this is a console that was probably too late. They were not wanting to put, because in the next couple years, because that's typically the cycle. It is. You know, so there might be a next gen one here in the next couple years, but then why not just wait?
Yeah.
Like,
so
literally, the only benefit of this is in, but anyway.
Yeah, let's get out of the unhype and get back into the hype. What's another one you're hyped for?
So, one I don't necessarily know if I'm hyped for, but I'm curious about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you have the link pulled up here.
I can get it pulled up.
RoboCop game.
So, good 49 seconds.
Top story, Old Detroit. Crime has escalated to new heights. Authorities are overwhelmed. OCP insists the situation is under control. But the question remains, who or what will send these crooks on the run and restore peace to all citizens once and for all?
Yeah, we're literally just getting the title, that's it. So if we didn't already know what it was, Rogue City. Or should I say Rouge? Yay!
Oh, is that it?
Oh
my god! Coming, look! Hold on. Coming to consoles and PC.
2023. Wow.
How generic that was overall. That the fact that they couldn't even list specific consoles, like they didn't have the licenses for them, coming to consoles and PC.
Yeah.
But
is RoboCop one of those like franchises that you like grew up with? So that's why you're intrigued?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. Like, I can definitely say that RoboCop 2, not RoboCop 3, we don't want to talk about that, but RoboCop 1 and 2, they're movies that, like, I wish it was more of a thing, but they can't just get it right.
Yeah. I'll definitely say that there's not enough games out there where you're actually a law maker rather than a law breaker, or not maker, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you're not a lawbreaker, you know? And if they can do it right, and they can, like, a really good example for me is Division. So in Division, you play as these people who are supposed to be bringing law and order back to New York or back to Washington, D.C. But you bring order by going out and killing tens of hundreds of people. And I think the fact that you're supposed to be, like, essentially cops or military people, like they didn't think to give just some kind of way of like maybe if you took them down stealthily, you could put zip ties on them or something, and then maybe you had to have like zip tie. You had to manage how many zip ties you had, and if you didn't have enough zip ties, then you had to like knock a person out or choke them out, or so that they went to sleep or something. And then if you took too long in an outpost, maybe some of the people that you choked out and put to sleep would start waking back up and like all this stuff. No, instead you're a freaking masochist and you go in and literally kill everybody. There could be two people on a street just talking, and because they happen to be enemy gangs, you can gun them down with no arbitration, you're just like, okay, yeah, I'm a fucking murderer. And that was one thing that just always stuck out to me. Yes, it's a game, obviously, but it always kind of rubbed me the wrong way that you're literally just murdering people. And then they respawn, and then you murder more people. Like, at least like Destiny, for instance, these are hostile aliens that will shoot you on sight, which, yes, you could say the same thing about. But the whole point of Division is for you to bring order back. And your way of bringing back order is killing people. Like, that's something that I never liked. So having something like RoboCop, which granted RoboCop still kills a lot of people, but
in the name of the law.
But there is a lot of also instances where like you could stun them rather than. So I would like to see a police game done right. A police game where you actually should take people down non-lethally, you know?
Yeah. Here's another good idea. Judge Dredd. That would be a great concept idea.
Definitely. So I'm going to keep on the Pokemon train, sort of, because I'm a little itty bitty bit hyped for Pokemon Arias, Oyuyuyas. I don't know what the hell it's called. And the number one reason is because it's an open world Pokemon. But the second I saw this footage for an open world Pokemon, I thought to myself, you know what would be really cool if there was like a adult Pokemon, you know, instead of you doing this stupid turn battle thing, instead you have like a companion that follows you around and fights with you, and maybe you have a sword or a gun or something, and how cool would that be? Enter Pal World. Pal World is, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's Pokemon with guns. So your main character holds or can have guns, can have weapons, can do fighting, and you have Pokemon that can do fighting for you. So yeah, Pokemon. See? Tons of Pokemon. They're flying all over the place. You get a ride on... Oh, they have guns! And then there's building. You can actually make your own building and use Pokemon as slaves.
Good to know.
See, there's like, you can use power. You can use electric Pokemon to essentially do generators. Then there's gardening, where you can have your water Pokemon water your plants for you. You can get, I'm assuming you can get like, because this is also very heavy crafting, so I'm assuming you can get like wool from all these sheep or whatever. You can put plows on the cows. See, then you can have them fight alongside you. He can obviously help you cook, probably. See, you can get them all like nice.
Those look exactly like Pokemon,
right? Watch this. See, they're shooting together. Go back. He gets on.
Oh, that's adorable.
This is the best part. No! You're using it as a human shield, and it's just like, why? You just literally throw it aside. Just fuck you. You can use Pokemon to use other Pokemon. You can set up a fucking slave rink where you're just in a... Look how sad they are. They literally have tears in their eyes. And that looks like an actual cover system. Like she was like this, and then she popped out or whatever.
Yeah.
This one digs, so you can get that. Oh, this is awesome! He's just and there you go. That's fishing in Pow World. But how freaking awesome does that look?
It looks cool. It does look cool. It looks worth a shot. It depends on how much it is for me.
Right. Now apparently it is by the same people who do Craftopia or something like that, and apparently that's been getting really good reviews, and it even has like almost like you can like Pokeball anything, like you could Pokeball a creature, Pokeball a person. So the fact that they're making this, it's like, okay, all right, this looks really cool. But yeah, when I saw Pokemon Arias, I'm like, wouldn't it just be cool to have like a more adult version of Pokemon? And that's kind of what that is. It's like, yeah, you're using Pokemon for labor, you're using them as literal shields, you're using them to help you. It's honestly like this. If this would have been Pokemon from the beginning, I think I would have been way more on board. And so, as excited as I am for, I think it would go Pokemon Arias, and then Pokemon Unite as far as my hype level. But then this is above both of them, and I'm like, dude, Pow World. We're going to Pow World, dude, and we're gonna get ourselves some pals and fight alongside them and shit. Like, yeah, it looks so cool. All right, you're next.
Get the pal. Well, so here's the thing. I think we can both talk about the next one on our
Let's do it.
List. It is Battlefield 2048. How they were able to, in an alpha setting, give us a demonstration of what this game could look like,
right?
Let alone what it would look like on the finished consoles. It's like, I'm sold already. Like, that was the perfect way to show off that game.
Yeah. I like that they are making changes to it, but they're also it seems like we're going back to Battlefield 4. Mm-hmm. But obviously it's going to be a little bit futuristic, so we can at least have some like really cool gadgets or whatever. But I mean, Battlefield, what was it? It was Battlefield Hardline, then it was Battlefield 1. So fucking stupid. But Battlefield 1, that was nice, and it was a good diversion. But then when they went from Battlefield 1 to Battlefield V, and that was somehow freaking World War II, like, the naming convention was dumb enough as it is. But, like, Battlefield 1, I liked it during the beta, but as soon as you started playing it, like, one thing that really annoyed the absolute shit out of me is that instead of having, like, let's say 10 different guns, and then you work on that one gun, the more you use it, kind of like in Call of Duty, the more you use it, you unlock attachments to it. No. In Battlefield 1, you would unlock different guns, but those guns were the same guns with different attachments on it. And so it made no sense. So you could look at support. Support is what I usually play as because I like light machine guns and giving ammo. I'm really good at that. So support, for instance. Support has, let's say, 10 guns. I'm like, oh, this is a really good selection. No, it fucking isn't. There's like 3 guns and all the other ones are literally just attachments. I'm like, this is dumb. Like, I paid full price for a game that I'm getting half the shit. And that was like the downfall of Battlefield for me, because like I love Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 is like it still holds up today in my opinion.
I can agree with that, but I feel like that's how I feel about 3. Because for me, 3 was the one that I remember going on during the beta. I jumped into and I was like, man, this is awesome. I haven't experienced this before. So my soft spot is for 3. And then when 4 came out, I was like, man, this feels exactly the same.
Yeah, like, I could get that. Yeah, I could get that.
But even still, there is a layer to it that I agree with you. Going from 1 to 5 was like, this is weird. Like, this just feels weird.
Yeah.
Weapon-wise, it wasn't like a smooth transition at all.
No, it wasn't. And I mean, even I think I played the beta for V. You know, like I played the beta, and then I think we technically got it free so I played it free, but the only reason I played it free is so that I could try out the battle royale of it. But by then it was already so past its life cycle, and they were literally not even doing updates to it anymore, that it wasn't that great. Firestorm is one of those like battle royales, kind of like Blackout, where it's just like it probably would have done better. It probably would have gotten more of a following if it wasn't behind a giant ass paywall. Like Warzone, love it or hate it. I mean, I hate it right now because it doesn't do enough to keep things interesting. But love it or hate it, in Warzone, at least it's fucking free. You know, putting Blackout, which is arguably as good as Warzone, but it's just that why the hell would I spend $60? Well, not this month. Why would I spend $60 on a game mode? You know, like it doesn't make any sense to me. So now we're going to have Battlefield 2048. Like, it seems to be a return to norm, but also an innovation on that. And that I think is great, because it's definitely what this franchise needs.
I'm not going to be surprised if Battlefield or DICE ends up ever putting a Nemesis system in the Battlefield games going forward, because they basically with this one were like, hey, you saw the cool weather effects they could do in 4 and Just Cause 4, let's do that in here. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like, that's, and again, this was all from pre-alpha footage, but like it was cool to see the new weather and destruction elements that are going into play, and like how it interacts with the world.
So another one I'm hyped for is Tribes of Midgar. I'm not super huge into Vikings, but for some reason there's been a huge slew of Viking games, and most of them I'm just like I'm to the point now, it's like, okay, I don't fucking care. But this one actually looks really interesting, because essentially it's almost like a mix between a crafting game and a tower defense game. So basically, by day, you're going out, you're chopping down trees, you're mining rocks, you're going to like enemy encampments to try to get loot, and then you're taking all that material and loot back to your, you know, home base, and then crafting stuff. And then at night, these like little portals basically open up, and they try to attack your like tree of life that you have in the center of your village or whatever. And so then at night, it basically becomes a tower defense where you're defending it. And so eventually you're going to build up walls, you're going to build up traps, you're going to, you know what I mean? So like that kind of like gameplay loop seems like really interesting, especially since in the summer, nights are really, you know, short. So you start in the summer and the nights are really short, but then winter starts to come. And then it's like half of the game is now night because it's winter time and shit. But it seems like it's going to scratch that itch. It's going to be $19.99 or $29.99 for the collector's edition or whatever. I might get the collector's edition, but like that's a super cheap game, super easy concept, and it's even a world that can persist when you're not playing it. So like if I wanted to play, if me and you played, for instance, and then both of us got off, the game world would basically pause. But if me and you were playing, and then like my brother joined us, and he kept playing after me and you went away, the game would keep persisting with him until he got off. So basically, as long as one person's on the server, it will persist. So that's kind of cool, but only if you don't have like assholes for friends and they get on to like specifically make you fail or something. So, but yeah.
Well, yeah. For me, as far as speaking of night, an honorable mention I think I would have would be Gotham Knights.
Hey.
That could be just because I haven't had a good Arkham game in a while. It's been since 2015, the last one we truly got. But I'm also curious to see how this one actually will play out. Like what type of game it's going to end up being.
I'm honestly hyped for it. This is another one of those situations where like it came out and I'm like, dude, this looks freaking dope. But then the internet was just like, oh, so stupid. You don't even get to be Batman. It's like, guys, get the hell over yourself. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. Okay, it's Gotham, so that means it has to be Batman. Like, there is so many people who are negative about this game. And, I mean, one, it's going to be a live service game. So it's like, okay, that's a legitimate complaint that I could see why you wouldn't be excited for the game. But being a little bitch and just saying, oh, you don't get to play as Batman? This is dumb. Like, no, I'm sorry. That's not a legitimate complaint. And at least the gameplay that we have seen screams Arkham. So now it's Arkham, but me and you get to play together. How is that a bad thing?
Yeah, it's not. And I've really been craving some more Arkham. Like,
hell yeah.
I have played through the games multiple times, so I don't really feel like doing it again. But when it comes around, it's going to be a day one pickup for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the fact that it's co-op, I mean, I would like to maybe have 4-player co-op because it's weird to have only 2-player co-ops when they specifically have 4 characters. They have Nightwing, right? They have Nightwing, they have Robin, which I believe is the Dick Grayson Robin. They have Batwoman, and I do feel like I'm missing one.
So you've got Red Hood.
There you go.
Jason Todd. You've got Dick Grayson, who is Nightwing. You also have as of this point, I think it
Batgirl.
is.
It's
Batgirl.
Yeah, Batgirl, and then Nightwing. So yeah, you got those 4. Why can't we have 4-player co-op? Even if it's like 4-player co-op raids or something. And who knows, maybe it will be. I don't know. But yeah, the fact that they cut it off at 2 is a little weird.
Yeah, I think they'll come closer to it just because right now there's that unsurety for whatever reason still.
Who's going to be your main, you think?
I mean, I'm a big Red Hood fan.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably going to be Red Hood.
Yeah. See, that would be my choice, especially if Jensen Ackles comes back. Which I don't know. He's probably too busy with Soldier Boy. But I'd say Nightwing is a definite second for me.
Okay.
Nightwing Duck. Anyways. No, that's a good choice. And another really good choice, another really, really, really good choice is Dying Light 2. Oh, just chef's kiss. I mean, what can we say about Dying Light 2? I don't know there's that much we can say. It's one of those games where it's like the second I knew it existed, it's like, stop talking, you don't need to convince me. You know, I am convinced, I want to buy it. The first one was absolutely like a masterpiece. And so the fact that we're getting another one and now it's like 15 years in the future, so there's going to be less guns and, you know, it's going to be like so many more like decisions to make and things like that. Like, I'm so excited for it. Like, it's definitely going to be a good game. And I think the fact that it's been a while since it was announced is a good thing because they're taking their time on it. They're not cyberpunking it up.
Yes. My concern on it, though, for Dying Light 2 is that it's going to be a lot. That's my biggest concern.
How's that a bad thing?
Because that's what happened with the first Dying Light. The first Dying Light, I got about halfway through, and then it honestly, really, I just couldn't see it the rest of the way through. Like, I got, with whatever I was doing, I don't know if it was a boredom thing or exactly what it was, but something just didn't click. So going into this one, like, I'm ready to play it, and I want to, but I'm worried I'm going to suffer from an overwhelming aspect to it.
Is your body ready?
Like it's going to be so much to give me and so much of a big open world that I'm not going to be sure how to take it. I guess.
Gotcha. I'll tell you how you can take it. Right up your ass. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know how much I can say about it just because it's I've already been convinced. I'm buying it day one. It's going to be great. I'm actually more excited for this than like Back 4 Blood. And like Back 4 Blood
100%.
essentially being Left 4 Dead 3, you would think I'd be more hyped for that, but it's like, nah, Dying Light 2. So that's my number one that I'm hyped for. What could be yours? I'm going to try to guess. Hold on.
Yeah, guess.
Hold on. Star Wars Pinball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Starring one Gustavo Fring. It's obviously Far Cry 6.
Yeah.
It 100% is. I'm wondering if I didn't play through Far Cry 4 again, if I would be as excited. But like, there are parts to this I just keep continuing to get excited about. Mostly having to do with the open world. And one of my favorite things about Far Cry games is just being able to explore the open world as I wish, doing that pretty much, whatever I please. So it's cool that they're giving you this ability, because for the first time you're actually getting the scale of a small country. Instead of it just being like an isolated island type part, you're kind of getting a combination of Just Cause with Far Cry mixed in here.
Wait, why? Come on. Say it.
Just Cause.
But
one thing that's really cool that I saw on a bunch of different videos is the development team is really trying to beat home this mindset, this Cuban mindset of, I don't remember the exact term for it. They say it a lot in there, but basically being able to use what you have and having this sort of DIY sensibility.
Oh, so guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they're wanting to do that in every single aspect, not just in the weapons, but how you explore the world. So how I can go from exploring these old like Revolution trails to go to an objective, or go through a checkpoint in a city. Like, I'm just really excited for this game. It's everything that I feel like I'm wanting, and honestly, I think this is the scale that I'm looking for right now. Whereas Dying Light 2, it's one of those, I feel like it's going to be a spring 2022 game for me.
Yeah.
And I have nothing else, like, okay, I'm going to tackle that.
Gotcha. Far Cry 6 is a weird beast, because will I play it? Of course. Will I enjoy it? Probably. But am I hyped for it? Legitimately not even a little bit. And I guess it's also because it's one of those games where I don't have to be convinced, which is weird, because Dying Light, I don't have to be convinced, but my hype meter is past 10. But then Far Cry 6, I also don't have to be convinced, but it's the opposite effect, where it's just like, I'm going to play it. I'm most likely going to enjoy myself, especially if there is maybe some kind of co-op mode. Maybe me and you can play it together, and I'll have an absolute ball. But it's just, nothing has stuck out to me as like, oh my God, and I guess that's just the thing that, like Far Cry 5 is a really good example of just like it, even though it was little things like, oh, hey, you don't have thousands of markers on your map. You have to go and discover them by talking to people or using your binoculars or just coming across them. That little aspect was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. And like that was one thing that kind of pulled me through the game, is like, oh, this sense of discovery or whatever. And so I'm sure they're going to have it in Far Cry 6, but it's like, I'm not seeing that thing that makes me go, oh, this is the next step. It's such a weird aspect, because it's like 2048 is a really good example, because it's like, could you just say this is Battlefield 4.2? Yeah, you could say that, but they add in like weather, and they add in the fact that it's going to be, what is it, like 128 people on each side. Granted, you have to be on the next gen consoles and or PC, but still, like 128 people on each side, and they have the map size to cater that. Okay, yeah, that intrigues me immensely, So, but that's the thing. 2048 has that little extra that isn't just, oh, hey, look at these cool weapons that you get to use. You know what I mean? And so that's just my personal opinion on it. But hey, we want to hear from you guys. It is your turn. What's your hype level for any of these games? What are you specifically hyped for? What's that day one purchase that you're going to be playing non-stop? You're going to binge it on day one. Let us know down in the comments down below. I was Nick.
And And I was Nate. I couldn't think of anything clever, but I'm
Right? You're just like, right there. And you guys have a good day.
You look mad at